Good morning. A little unconventional setting, but the weather is wild this morning, so I didn't really have a choice if I wanted to make a video, and I'm hoping the wind, we're having 40 to 50 mile an hour winds right now, so I'm hoping that the microphone picks up and not all the gusts and stuff. So if I'm yelling, I'm sorry. If it's not a great shot, sorry about that too, but you know, rolling with it too. But I think the weather is the perfect opportunity to talk about fear. And I was reading a book this morning that I've been working my way through slowly, and because there's just so much amazing information in it. And in the section I was reading about today, it talked about fear. And fear is an amazing human thing that we have that can have such a hold over us. And usually when we confront it, and when we're on the other side of fear, we go, oh my goodness, that wasn't so bad. Like, why did I spend all that time worrying? And it was just wasted time and energy. And that's really what it comes down to, is if we can work through our fears, we realize we're wasting our energy on something that's not necessary. And I think the biggest fear most people have is death, because what is beyond? And some people, depending on their beliefs, might say, oh no, that's not a big deal. But when push really comes to shove, they are afraid. And I think we all deal with that on different levels, and how much deep inner work we've done. And the book I'm reading is called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. It's a channeling of Jesus's grandmother, and it was done over 10 years. And I've found it a very insightful book that has helped me to understand Christ consciousness in a new way. And I don't take anything as an absolute, but there's definitely moments where I'm going, oh, that really rings true. It really resonates inside of me. And so, and it's odd because somebody else had brought it up in a video, and when I first got it, sometimes books say buy me, and then I don't read them immediately. And that was the case with this one. And I really had to go through my energy workshop weekend to really appreciate this book. And it's crazy because I'm a pretty fast reader, and my comprehension is pretty high. But this book is so packed with so much that I find I can't read through it quickly. I need to take it slow and steady. But getting back to fear. Fear can be a simple thing like applying for a job or confronting somebody at work. Fear could be buying a house or a barn and going, I can't do this work. I'm not going to be able to convert it into a house. And conquering that fear by saying, you know, yes, I can. I wouldn't be called to be here to do this if it wasn't for this moment. And I need to step past this fear. And I think frequently there's a story I can recall hearing about a person drowning in the water. And I would think it's supposed to be the ocean or big sea. And the person's drowning, and they said, you know, God's going to save me and everything. And somebody comes through by with a boat, and the person says, no, go away. It's okay. God will save me. and then, you know, a piece of driftwood or something goes by and no, I'm gonna be saved. And eventually the person succumbs to death after having these various opportunities. And I think there's always an element of, whether you want to consider it God or source, the universe, our guides, our higher self, our angels, are constantly throwing us these life rafts and we don't notice them. And sometimes it's to overcome our fears, and sometimes it's to get us, like what I was talking about a few days ago, to get us to this bigger, greater moment that we've been asking for. And a lot of times that's just sitting there dangling, and we still let our fear go, I can't do that. It's too big of a risk. You know, I have 4 kids, and a big fear of mine, there's lots of stuff in the news that, oh, there's going to be food shortages, gas shortages, and stuff like that. And that really captured me for a long time. And that's not to say that I don't stay prepared. I'm aware. I think you can be aware of things. It's a windy day. The pig bucket that I carry around, I took the lid off and I put the lid underneath another bucket so it wouldn't blow away. That's awareness. That's not fear. And so how we approach things and how we look at things, somebody could be in fear and somebody else could just be in awareness. And it's about the same topic. How you approach something, how much control you let it have over you, if you're letting it consume you, I think that's really the difference. And again, this comes back to balance. It seems like that keeps being a common theme this week. Balance, balance, balance. So now I stay aware of food things, and I'm trying to make myself as self-sufficient as possible on our homestead, hoping we get our greenhouse up soon and can start spring planting and all that stuff. And there's certain things in my cupboard that I don't let them get too low. And if I do, I go, I gotta get that. That's a different kind of awareness than where I was at before with fear. Oh, my kids are gonna starve to death. We're gonna die. You know, people are gonna come raid and take our food all the time. That's a horrible place to be in and to live. And I think as you do inner work and you ask yourself, why? You know, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, well, the worst that could happen would be my kids could die. That would be absolutely horrible, and that's not something I really would choose to go through. And I would hope that that would be something that I don't have to go through. But if that did happen, would I be able to continue living and going and doing? I think so. But I'm not going to let the fear of that happening stop me from actually living now. Another example, a friend had somebody that they needed to talk to at work, and I was like, what's the worst that can happen? And she said, I could get fired. I'm like, okay, so sit with that. What does that feel like when you're getting fired? And it doesn't feel great, but you've accumulated all this knowledge, and you could just take that to your next job. So really, it would be okay. And I think that's how we need to go into and tackle fear is, okay, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen here? What does it feel like when I am sitting with this absolute worst scenario, fear that I have? And can I see myself on the other side of that? And maybe I don't see myself on the other side of that. Maybe that means I'm dead. But then what do I see death as? Do I see death as this hellish experience? Do I see it as heaven? Do I just see it as my energy is being transformed from inside this body to not being encapsulated into a body? How do I see that? My answer on that is going to be different than yours, and that's okay. We all have our own knowingness in us, and frequently we go outside of ourselves for answers and to be told what to do, because that's easier than digging in deep and confronting those fears. If somebody says you need to do this to be saved and you'll have everlasting life, well, that's easier to deal with than to go inside and to confront my fears on what I think is going to happen. And I am not bashing, shaming. I'm just saying there's different ways of looking at things. A lot of times religions have been used to take away our free will, to take away that deep diving into ourselves, to stay on the surface. And I think there's a lot of things in many religions that ring true to that inner knowingness and allow us to just stay on that surface level and not ever dig deeper. But when we start digging deeper, we start hearing and knowing these other deep knowingnesses that are inside all of us. And they don't just stay here. And we confront those fears, those deepest fears. And we're able to move through them. And whether the fear is something small, like losing a job, or something bigger perspective-wise, like losing a child or losing your life, confronting our fears is really important, and it allows us to not put our energy into something that's only going to produce more fear and put it into what reality we want. It can get us to that point of we're not in fear, we're in awareness. So sit with that. Look at your fears. Dig deep into those fears. Where do they come from? I remember being a child and being so afraid of the dark, and I think I was picking up on things in childhood, maybe more supernatural would be the right word. And I think in other lifetimes that caused a lot of fear, because lots of things happen to you if you talked about those things in other lifetimes. And now I don't have that worry. But digging into that fear, even from childhood, makes it easier to deal with other fears. So maybe digging with the childhood fear would be easier. Maybe that would be harder than digging into something now. It's really up to you. And as always, if some of this just doesn't make sense to you or doesn't resonate with you, that's completely okay, because we're all in different places. And for somebody, this video is going to be like their big bing aha moment. And there's going to be other people that are like, what are you talking about? It's not that easy. It's not. Digging in deep into your feelings and your why and these fears is uncomfortable. And we are not always in a place that we can do that. And you may be able to sit with one uncomfortable fear, but you may not be able to sit with another. That's okay. Don't see it as you are doing something wrong or there is something wrong with you. You are perfect. You are wonderful, just as you are. And if you choose, because it's a conscious choice, to dig deeper, that's okay too. And some people are going to be at that point, they're ready to dig deeper into that fear. And so if you're one of those people, I wish you good luck on that journey. And I hope you have a great day. I hope everybody has a great day on this windy day. Have a great one, guys. Bye.